Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Wine and Books podcast. My name is God's Favor, and I am your host. How are you guys doing? For me, I am happy and I'm good. I'm also looking forward to watching the latest episode of The Boys on Amazon Prime later tonight. Even though this particular season is underwhelming, if you guys, if you're watching The Boys, you understand what I mean. I'm still going to watch because I really want to see how I want to see the end of Homelander. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. But yeah, welcome once again to the pod. In our previous episode, we discussed Better Never Than Late by Chika Nina Onigwe. And we paired it with Sweet Apes Wine. If you've not listened to it, make sure you check out the previous episode, okay? Okay. Well, in today's episode, we are pairing Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng and the Conti Buneis Moscato wine. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. There's something sexy about the name of this wine. Well, it is a sweet, sparkling white wine from Italy. It's also soft and refreshing. And in this glass, it has this pale yellow color with a tiny, like a very tiny green tint. It also smells like ripe peach, apricot, and honey. It also has soft floral notes like orange blossom. And it's also one of these wines that is already inviting you before you even take a sip. And when you do take a sip, it is sweet, it is fruity. You get flavors like peach, a little citrus. It is smooth and slightly creamy. And it has this gentle fizz that makes it fun. And it's also very low. It's also low in alcohol. I think like 5%. And for the finishing, it's clean. It also has this tiny bitter aftertaste that keeps it from being too sweet. Also makes you want to go back for another sip. So overall, it is rich, it is easygoing, simple, and it's perfect for unwinding while you listen or you read a book. Yeah, so let's get into today's book. A little summary before we discuss key topics, themes, and questions. We're currently reading, reviewing, or reading Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. Now, the very first sentence you see when you open this book is Lydia Lee is dead. So we are not finding out, oh, this Lydia is missing. Is she dead or is she not dead? She is dead, right? And this book opens up in 1977. It follows the mysterious death of a 16-year-old Lydia Lee. It's not really a detective story. Instead, it focuses more on her family, their secrets, the pressure, the things they never said to each other. The investigation is there, but that's the real focus is the cracks in the Lee family. Now, Celeste Ng, the writer, took us through different timelines, different perspective. We see the story from a lot of angles before Lydia was born, during her life, and after her death. But at the core of this book, it's about identity, expectations, and what happens when someone spends their whole life trying to be who everyone else wants them to be instead of who they really are. Now, the major characters we have in this book are Lydia Lee. She's the dead girl, the daughter of Marilyn and James Lee. We have Marilyn Marilyn Lee, that's Lydia's mom. We have James Lee, that's Lydia's father. We have Nat. Nat is Lydia's senior brother. We have Hannah. Hannah is Lydia's junior brother. Then we also have Jack, even though we just saw, I don't know. I don't know, but I won't really call him like the one of the major characters. But Jack is their neighbor. Okay, he lives on the same street with the Lee family. So for context, the Lee family are Chinese American. And I already mentioned that this book was set in the 1970s. Okay. Yeah. So let's get into the themes, the questions, the topics in this book. Number one question. Do you think James and Marilyn were good parents? I personally think they were horrible parents. They don't even know their kids at all. I'm not saying, oh, you know everything, but to some point you know, oh, this is what my child can do. Okay? You might not know what your child is doing behind your back, oh, but at least the very basics. Like I mentioned, Lydia is dead. The police are investigating, so they're asking everyone questions. I can't remember the question they asked Marilyn, but then she was like, "Oh, Lydia was very happy. She loved school. She would never go out in that boat by herself." And in my mind, I'm like, "You don't really know Lydia. Lydia hated what she was studying. She just wanted to make her mom happy so she doesn't run away again." Okay. And I also hated that Marilyn did not put her foot down, especially when it comes to James. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. You saw the way James put his foot down and he said, "Oh, we can't continue this relationship," because obviously it was a teacher student relationship. And Marilyn decided to stop taking his class. I was like, because of man. My nurse is with all the shaggy she has seen so far. Her teacher at some point was telling her, "Oh, you can't be in this class. You will distract the boys." Like the misogyny in this book, eh? My point is, you went through all this shaggy just to quit a class because of man. I think it's crazy. But considering the times, 1970, I shall understand to some extent. I don't understand completely, but to some extent. My next question is, what would you do if while chasing your dreams, you find out that you were pregnant? Before I answer, let's give a little bit context. So after her mom's death, Marilyn traveled to make arrangements for the burial and all. And in the process of the whole thing, she discovered that her mom was actually living a sad life. She was always coming home to a quiet house because her husband, that is Marilyn's father, was gone. I can't really remember if Marilyn's father died or if he just went to buy milk and did not come back. But yeah, the whole thing made her remember her own ambitions. She wanted to be a doctor. She finally decided, oh, she was going back to school to complete her education. And phones were not a thing then, so there was no way for James and the kids to reach her. So they thought she was missing and they reported to the police. They were looking for her and, all of that. Now, do you think Marilyn made the right decision, leaving the family to complete her education without any explanation? So, because of the time this book was set in, I'll say she did what she had to do. I mean, thank God for feminism and, the amazing women that fought for the rights that I'm enjoying now. But I just wish she put her foot down. Like she told James that, oh, I want to go back to school. After all, she has sacrificed a lot for the family. She lost her relationship with her mom because she married James. The mom hated James because of his color or race. She died without seeing Marilyn's kids. And I mean, it's just to complete the education. It's not like she was already rounding up. And for me, James is very selfish. You know, James is a very selfish man. And I don't know if you remember that part where Marilyn was asking James' colleague for a job. I think a research assistant, something assistant, yeah. And he was like, and when she came back, she told James that, oh, the man has agreed, whatever, whatever. They wanted to have a conversation around that. And James was like, oh, what would people say? James was more worried about people saying that, oh, it's because he doesn't make enough money. That's why his wife is looking for a job. I mean, very selfish, but he did not care. Oh, she really wants to do this. She has made a lot of sacrifice. Oh, let's just do some rearrangement and so she can do this job. So, very selfish. So back to my question when I asked, what would you do if you were chasing your dreams? I mean, for now, like if it was now, fuck them kids. Yeah, that's what I can say. But yeah. And talking about selfish James, that man watched his mother labor. And I think there's a part he described her hands as, I can't remember if it was very hard, but he described his mother's hands as somebody that's, done a lot of labor. Like she has really worked. Because I think she was working, can't remember if it was his primary school or secondary school. He was working in one of his schools, and she was doing a lot of cleaning just to raise funds. I mean, he watched, and she would still come back home to make food for the family and all of that. This man watched his mother labor, and he was very comfortable watching Marilyn labor without, I don't want to say helping her, because he lives in that house. He's supposed to be part of the cleaning and, the whole housekeep. I come to think of it, if he wasn't selfish, he would have noticed that something was off when Marilyn came back from the whole burial arrangement and all of that. He would have left the kids as, let's say, I don't know, for like 2 days at his neighbor's house, and he would have gone out to look for his wife. But he just balanced there and, just handed it over to the police, and he was praying for her to come back. I mean, he would have done more. Selfish man. He was also a bad father. I mean, he recognized that Nat was going through, like, he recognized what Nat was going through in that school. Do you guys remember that pool incident where, with the kids from Nat's school, they were at the pool and they were calling him, I can't remember, something chink or clink or something. And Nat was obviously angry. They were teasing him, making fun of him. And his dad was there. And when they got home, and his wife was asking him, "Oh, what happened?" He was just like, "Oh, some kids teased him at the pool yesterday. That Nat cannot take that Nat should learn how to take a joke." I mean, this man understands what Nat is going through because he went through the same thing, and he just decided that, oh, his child should grow up. But you've been in that shoe. At least you would have told, I don't know, maybe advise his son until he said, "Oh, it doesn't get better." I mean, not like give him selling false hope and be like, "Oh, it gets better," because seriously, but I don't know. He should have done something. He's the father. And I wanted to say he was nicer to Lydia. He was a little bit nicer to Lydia than Nat. I don't know why he was very hard on Nat. But then I now remember that he asked his side chick to help him get a gift for his daughter. I think it was her birthday. And he had the audacity to tell his side chick to get his daughter a gift. And not I don't think Lydia would have noticed that her daddy asked the his side chick to get her. I think it was like a necklace. l- I I can't remember if it is this same stuff that you open and you see like pictures inside the necklace. I can't remember if it is lockets they call it or something. I don't know. But yeah, and he had the audacity to bring his side chick to pick Lydia up from school. No fear. And then his daughter noticed because the lady was like, "Oh, did you like your necklace? Oh, I helped your dad pick it and whatever, whatever." And I'm like, "Who asked you?" And it was even the way where Lydia clocked the whole thing was with the way she was touching his knee while he was driving. Oh my god, I think Lydia was very disgusted and she hated that necklace. And this man still, after Lydia's death, this man still went back to his side chick to comfort him. I mean, Marilyn clocked that was where he was. I think she called the school. I can't remember how she found out, but all I know is that she went to his apartment and she knew that her husband was inside that place. She went to the lady's apartment to look for him. Sorry. And now this brings me to Lydia Lee. Lydia Lee she was 16 and she was already very young and carrying the whole weight of everybody's choice. I mean, with Nat, I don't know. I don't know why the mom. I don't know. Let's just focus on Lydia first. Now, because her mom could not complete her education because she was pregnant with Hannah, her mom wanted to live those dreams through Lydia. And Lydia was scared because that her mom will run away. Remember that after her mom, ran away. Nat was having serious. Okay, I think Lydia was the one having um nightmares. Why Nat was struggling to sleep, and he stumbled upon this whole astronaut space thing on the TV, and then he got obsessed, and he started. So before he goes to bed, he he was struggling to sleep. So before he goes to bed, he start mentioning the names of the astronauts he learns about. He be calling their names till he dozes off. Now, when I read that part, she reminded me of Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, where she was mentioning the names of the people she's going to fight. But yeah, Lydia was having serious nightmares. Like her mom living really traumatized those kids. It was just as at that point, it was just Nat and Lydia. So Lydia was doing everything her mommy asked her to do without complaining. She'd not even argue with her that, oh, I don't understand what my teachers are teaching me, or I don't like this subject you want me to do. She was just so scared that her mom was going to run away. And I was talking about pregnancy. Did you guys notice that at the hospital, the doctor was like, oh, we don't use rabbits? It was actually somebody at my book club that mentioned this. And I went to check. It was actually a thing in the 90s where if doctors want to check to see if a woman is pregnant, they they collect her urine and they inject it into the rabbit's vein. And now these rabbits, they are going to sacrifice it. The rabbit is not going to die, right? After like 48 hours, they'll sacrifice the rabbits to inspect to see to detect this HCG hormone. So HCG hormone is like the pregnancy hormone. Yeah. So that's how they check to see if a woman is pregnant. And the doctor was telling her, oh, we don't use rabbits anymore. I think as of that time, they've gotten medical, whatever has gotten more advanced. So they no longer use rabbits. But it was a thing, I mean, a real life thing. I checked. Well, in general, do you think the Lees are going to do well? Like, I don't mean um Marilyn and James. So I'm talking about their kids, like the next generation. Do you think Hannah and Nat? So Lydia is there, so she's out of the equation, right? Do you think Hannah and Nat are going to do better? Or do you think they're going to pass this trauma to their kids, if they have any, if they decide to have any? Remember, remember that their parents were already somehow. They were not big on community building. They never went to church. They never go out to attend people's events. They never even entertain people at their own home. So they are not also very expressive. You can see the they were just keeping a lot to themselves. I feel like most of the issues would have been solved if they actually spoke up, if they were expressive. So do you guys think that the next generation of leads are going to do well? I I personally am very hopeful about. I'm very hopeful when it comes to Hannah. I think she's going to learn from her sister's death and everyone before her, and she's going to make corrections. In fact, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for her. I believe in her. And do you guys think Lydia Lee was trying to commit suicide or it was just a whole mistake? I so first things first, for context, she cannot swim, right? And I think that was the day she decided, oh, she wants to free herself. She wants to free herself. Yeah, I think she committed suicide, to be very honest. I don't think it was a mistake. Like, she knows she cannot swim. She knows she's not supposed to be on the boat alone. So why did she go into the boat and, if you cannot swim? But I think she committed suicide. So last question. A big part of this book is it tells us about the influence our parents can have on us. So my question is, how did your parents influence your childhood? Like, I really want to hear your thoughts. How did your parents influence your childhood? For me, my mom is a teacher, and at some point, I wanted to be a teacher. And then I found out that, oh, you can actually be like, there's like a bigger one, that's the lecturer. And I was like, oh, I want to be a lecturer. Until I got admission, I got into uni, and I saw the shiggy these people were facing. I mean, I still teach. or as a side gig. Teaching has always been my side gig. At some point, it was like my full gig, out of secondary school. I've done lesson teacher, data analysis teacher, school teacher. In fact, I've done it all and I still do it, right? So yeah, this is how my own parents influenced my childhood. I really want to hear your thoughts. And I'm going to rate this book a 7/10. Like this book is very heavy. Like you can see, some places are very sad and very heavy. So if you're into family drama, you will enjoy this book. And this brings us to the end of today's episode. If you've read Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, I'd love to hear what you think. If you've not read it and let me know what you think by filling the form on the description box. Don't forget to share this episode with your book club members or people that love reading. And just share it. Share the episode, subscribe, and come back for more book discussions. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Bye.